Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars.
This is the latest disclosure, a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder.
Wait a minute, something's happening. Some shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror.
Welcome to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of After Hours AM Deeper Cuts, the best in alternative talk radio. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me each and every week is Mr. Greg Bakken. And tonight, Greg, we have a hell of a show on tap. But number one, I'd like to get one thing out of the way. Our good friend Bill Hartley has a new thing out there. And, of course, you know him better from being one of the cast members of Shepherdstown over there in Destination America, Ghosts of Shepherdstown. And I know you brought this to my attention. I'd like to get that out there at the top of the show, Greg.
Why not? And Joel, how are you tonight?
You know what? I'm doing great. We all survived the apocalypse, man, so I am happy. And we are actually hiding in a bunker as we speak in northern Minnesota. So, you know, just in case.
Well, I'll tell you what didn't survive the apocalypse, apparently, and this is what we wanted to quickly talk about. Our good friend Bill Hartley, who is on Ghosts of Shepherdstown, he has been on this program before on the Thursday night edition. The Beast, as we know, has been in season 2 of Ghosts of Shepherdstown, has some problems. The transmission went out on it. And, you know, this is a great example for all you people who are like, oh, well, if people are on TV, they get paid a lot of money. That is not the case at all. And he needs some help. He is just saying, can you please help me out? Help me get my transmission fixed. He has a GoFundMe page. You go to GoFundMe.com. You go to Save the Beast. We're going to put this on all of our pages to kind of remind people. And basically, he just needs help to be able to get a new transmission, get it fixed, and what he's going to do for anybody who donates over $10 or more, he's going to send a signed photo, and whoever donates the most will get a Destination America duffel bag with a large signed photo of Bill, Nick, and Elizabeth, and a screen-worn hat that he's also going to sign. So that's pretty cool. And I will say that when the show is over, and I had promised him I was going to do this, and I haven't done so yet, I am going to be putting in a little bit of money myself because, you know what, we're all friends here. We're all parapeeps, all of us, all around. And we have a large enough group of people who listen to the show. Surely some of you can just put in a couple bucks, $10 or whatever, and help Bill get to where he needs to for this. And something that people may not quite realize, he uses this to go everywhere. You know, when he goes to conventions, whatnot, he takes the Beast with him. So all I'm saying, Joel, is anyone who has a couple extra bucks to spare, please go to the GoFundMe page. If the link I have doesn't really say Save the Beast. Actually, it does. It's GoFundMe.com, and go into the search, go Save the Beast. You're going to find it. Just, if you could, just throw a couple bucks in. I think Bill would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to do so after the program myself.
As am I. I've become very good friends with Bill over the years, having him on the radio show several times. And I would like to give him a hand, and better yet, if there's a mechanic out there that's listening that maybe has some extra parts or some knowledge, would be willing to help Bill out, I know he'd appreciate that as well.
Great idea.
So that being said, hey, we're departing from the normal tonight. Normally this is the part where we do the news and we talk about surviving the apocalypse and what kind of underwear Greg wears. But we are actually we have guests tonight, man. We actually have invaded the UK.
And no underwear.
And no underwear. We're going commando.
Anyway, yep,
we are going commando. Paranormal UK Radio is nice enough and gracious enough to carry this program to all the great listeners throughout the world. And, of course, in the UK, which we were not broadcasting beforehand in the UK. So it's a big, big, great thing for us. Irene Allen Block and, of course, good friend Mark Johnson. They're both with us right now from that great radio station. Hey, guys, how you doing?
We're doing pretty good. How are you?
Well, we're doing fine. We are just trying to figure out transmission issues for the beast.
Yeah.
I also want to hear more about Greg's underwear. That has me riveted.
Well, yeah.
If I'm not wearing any, how can you hear more about it? That's the question.
He will auction them off.
He told me he was going to be naked tonight.
Yes, he broadcasts naked. No, I think it's one of us that does that. I can't remember which one it is.
And I'm sitting here in the nude.
Oh, really? Wow.
But you said we'll all be naked tonight. So.
Exactly. That's why. I wore my cat suit, as you saw in the Skype picture. So that's how that works.
Yes, he is wearing nothing but his fur tonight, and he's feeling very, very free. And
I think I'm going to need some brain soap after this episode.
You may need more than that. You might need mind bleach. So if there's a man in black out there that might have the neuro-transmitting cleaner upper thing. I forget what that device is called, where you look into it and it flashes your eyes. You no longer remember anything. That may be what you need to do, Mark. That just might be what you need.
I don't know. We have the equivalent here. I live in Colorado.
That is very true. Very true. That is the high state right there for more than one reason. Now tell us
Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah, that's right. So tell us a little bit about Paranormal UK Radio, guys. What's that all about and how to get started and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I'll leave that up to Mark because he's good at telling things.
Yeah, and she leaves it up to me because I do what I'm told. Anyway, well, actually, Paranormal UK Radio Network started off as just a show 2 years ago. Irene wanted to do a radio show that really focused on the UK and UK guests and subjects, which, let's face it, the American radio shows take up, is a majority of the market out there, and the UK doesn't get a lot of as exposure, and it's actually an untapped resource for us for guests and stories. And so we started off with a show, the Paranormal UK Radio, which we were on Dark Matter Digital Network, our Bell station. They still broadcast our show there too. But after about a year doing this, Irene was thinking, well, let's why don't we start our own network? And then we started bringing on more shows. We got a nice mixture of British and American shows like yours that have come on the network, and we've got a full week lineup, and it allows a lot more exposure, not only in the UK for American audiences, but British audiences getting to hear a lot of these great guests and stories. So it's really, in the last year, it's really grown, much to the surprise of us how much it's grown.
We're covering most of Europe as well.
We're tracking listeners, I'm not kidding, literally worldwide. I mean, we were running down the list the other day. We even got somebody from Nepal who sent us, some fan email. So it's pretty exciting.
So how is it that you get a Yank and someone from the UK working together?
That's because we're mixed up in everything.
Well,
he will have to explain that one as well.
Well, I met Irene about good Lord, what are we going on? 6-7 years now? I've lost count. And she was running her organization at the time in the UK, Spirit Rescue International. Mm-hmm. And I had interviewed one of her, now former people who worked with her, and then he introduced us, and we started talking, and we just hit it off, and we've been working together ever since. And not only did we start working with the radio show, we took her organization, Spirit Rescue International, SRI, and in the last couple of years, we've modified it to go much broader in our own research. Because my background is I'm a paranormal researcher. Mm-hmm. Irene ran her own group for years and has been working with the paranormal herself for so many years. And so now we are the Supernatural Research Institute. Still SRI, though.
No, we're not. Yes, we are. Yes, that's right. We are.
It's all right. You're going to have to forgive Irene. What is it, 1 o'clock where you are right now?
It is 1 o'clock. It's gone 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 a.m. So we do appreciate you staying up to talk with us for this little bit. Now,
I've had 3 hours sleep since Saturday.
I got to say, this show... After Hours AMs on iHeartRadio. We're on Art Bell's radio station as well. We're everywhere. But the UK audience is a completely more sophisticated. I love the American audience. I love you all because I'm one of you. But they're a little more abrasive at times. They don't hold back in telling you what they think. The UK audience, and that's a beautiful thing. That really is. It's a great sounding board.
No, we don't. We say it as it is, and that's it.
And you know what? The British guests that we have on, we've had a lot of many different researchers to our show. Now, we still have our own show. We're the flagship show on the network, which we go out Wednesday nights, 10 o'clock, both in the UK and starting on the East Coast. 10 p.m. And, we get a lot of great guests. We just had Andrew Collins on, which will be airing tomorrow night. You've seen him on the Ancient Aliens television show.
Sure.
Talking about a lot of these old megalithic sites like Göbekli Tepe. Fascinating conversation. And we've had so many great British guests on, and really it's an untapped resource. People don't know so many of these names or the stories. And with some of the shows that we acquired, like we have a gentleman, Simon Entwistle, who is a tour guide for kind of like the ghostly macabre. He dresses in Victorian outfits and does tours. He does a show on our network called Ghostly Tales of the Unexpected. And he just tells ghost stories, British ghost stories, for an hour, and it is enthralling just listening to him.
Well, every show, Mark, is different, isn't it? They all bring something different to the network.
Well, that begs the question, though, is, you guys seem to have the cream of the crop in programming, and how would the would-be broadcaster get on a network like this? Because, this is not a network. You got to have a kind of a thick skin because you're competing with a lot of great talent. So, if you're used to being the big fish in that pond, when you hit the worldwide market, you may not be that big fish. But what do you guys look for when a show comes up to you guys? When they say, hey, I think we have what it takes.
Well, obviously what we look for is something a little bit different. Whether it's not necessarily fully paranormal themed, but something within the paranormal, UFO, high strangeness, a little bit of whatever. We have one unique show. We have identical twin brothers, Ronnie and Philip Kinsella, and they do a show called Twin Souls. And they talk a lot about ufology, but also spiritual development, things like that. And, so we look for something a little bit different, something that we think that the listeners will want to hear, both in the UK and the US. And, and of course, professionalism is it. There's a lot of shows out there that, well, I don't listen to a lot of them at podcasts much anymore, because some of them are so bad.
So how well are like the U.S. shows going over on your network?
Very well.
Very well. We track our numbers. We added you guys now on Monday nights, and the numbers are up. They're fairly solid. We're getting a lot of repeats. And what we do as part of our package is when we do a lineup for a night, we put it on a repeat that goes overnight to not only catches the UK, it catches the East Coast of the US, the West Coast of the US, but we learned if we let it play overnight, we start picking up all the time zones across the world. People listening in the afternoons in Europe where they like to listen to radio more than they do at night. And we keep getting, the numbers keep growing, and we keep growing a bigger audience. So it's very exciting.
That's smart marketing is what that is. I mean, a lot of shows and networks are kind of that one and done, and they don't repeat it throughout the time zones, to where you guys have kind of picked up on that whole formula. Well, wait a minute, there's more than just this time zone. We want to cater to every time zone. Now, does that ever become problematic? I mean, is there shows, I would imagine, like, unfortunately or fortunately, depending upon how you look at it, After Hours AM is on your network, Paranormal UK Radio Network, for a 6-hour block on Monday nights. Right. I mean, there's a lot of shows, though, like you had alluded to, that couldn't put 3 really good shows together, not enough to do a block like that, or am I not correct?
Well, most of our shows are either weekly shows. We even have on Thursday nights, we air monthly shows. And then we rotate every week with different lineup on Thursday nights. So basically what we have planned out is a 5 to 6 hour block of shows that play. We start off in prime time in the UK and let them repeat to hit prime time going around the globe. And other people, of course, still listening during the day in the mornings. So it actually works out really well with the lineup that we have so far. Now, the only thing that we don't have because of the way we do it is we don't have live shows. So I know a lot of people like calling live and calling in and listening, and that's something that we may address in the future. But for now, because of the shows being pre-recorded, it does give us that flexibility to hit all of the markets with the same shows as the globe turns.
We got a question from one of the listeners hitting me up over Facebook. They're curious, do you offer show archives? And absolutely you do. And again, that would be at, I haven't said it yet, so I shouldn't say it again, paukradio.com. Radio.
That's the old address.
Oh, that's the old address.
It still works, Mark. It still works.
Because I'm there, man.
Works.
I'm there, baby.
The network. I'm sorry.
There's www.paranormalukradio.com.
Yep. Network.com. You forgot the network.
Oh, sorry. Network.com.
Well, here's the thing with our shows, we have links to it on the website, but all of our shows, all of our original content shows are available. We post them out everywhere. They're on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes. Oh my good Lord, Spreaker. What are some of the others? There's so many. Which one?
iVoox.
Yes.
Well, there's quite a few foreign ones as well. Yeah.
So if you go out to a podcast app, you can find our shows and download them and listen to them at your pleasure. We also even have a YouTube channel where we are uploading shows on YouTube as well.
Very, very cool.
So what we're going to make sure we do is we'll post those links also to all of our places as we normally do, so people can check it out if you haven't already.
Okay. Also, I must apologize for the rude noises coming from the background behind me.
Oh, well, we just chilling up.
Well, now you have to tell us what the rude noises
exactly.
are. Or do we not want to know? I mean,
we have the network mascot. Gertie. Gertie the Gertrude. Gertie is the British Bulldog puppy. She's 8 months old and snores all the way through all the programs. So she's behind me now snoring, and I keep giving her a dick, and I keep muting, but I think you may be picking it up.
That's all right. We don't mind hearing her snore.
First place about this, but he didn't get around to it.
Now, I just want to add one thing is, of course, After Hours AM has its own iHeartRadio channel. And we have included Paranormal UK Radio on the lineup. along with our show and several others that you can go over to iHeartRadio, search out After Hours AM, and you will find them right there. So if you've not been exposed to Paranormal UK Radio and you'd like to give it a try and you're a normal iHeartRadio user, go ahead. Fire up that app like you would for us.
Come and listen to us. We're fun.
Hit the play button. Check it out. I think you will be pleasantly surprised at what you hear. I mean, very, very good numbers. People love them. I love hearing it because it's a different, fresh, new take. You hear about things from across the pond if you're here in the States, and you normally would not hear about. So it's actually been very, very cool hearing all that stuff.
It is Paranormal UK radio, but I am the token Yank on the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, you are the one. I didn't want to point things out.
When Irene gets out of line, I have to remind her, 1776 and who saved their butts in World War II.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
boy.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. I don't know that. Well, I just want to bring one thing up really quickly, and now we don't talk about this enough. Now, Greg, he's a writer for UK television, and he is somewhat of a name over there, and so he gave me insight, of course, about the audience of the UK, man. So that has helped greatly in producing this radio show.
Well, what I do is I work with Kaleidoscope, which is a British Television Preservation Society, because I'm to say I'm a fan of British television would be a minute way of expressing how much I'm into it, because it goes beyond Python, goes beyond all that stuff. And so I work with them, and I write reviews and stuff, and I work with the BBC on that kind of stuff, and ITV and other places. So it's my first love, and it's probably still, even I love paranormal, still my biggest love is all British television and all that stuff. So yeah, I have an idea of how it works over there a little bit.
Oh, great.
And that's how you kill conversation.
That's right. Wow,
I was just looking at your picture of your pussy.
Yes.
All the time you were talking, I was just fixated on your pussy.
Now, if you are a fan of Are You Being Served, you will know exactly what she's talking about. And if you're not, then we'll leave that up to your imagination.
Yes, we'll leave that alone right there. We will
I still think the best one is Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what do you think of Mrs. Brown's Boys?
I don't, it's fine until they start doing that live thing. The Mrs. Brown Roundhouse or whatever. I was watching it after Doctor Who because we get BBC directly, and it's just like, yeah, you know what? That's not really my thing, but it's huge over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's big over there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is interesting. Now, getting to the paranormal. Now, Mark, as you said, you're a paranormal investigator. You've been doing it a long time. What kind of brought you into the paranormal radio realm?
Good Lord. Well, long time ago, I was doing my own show when I was running my group in New Jersey, and we were approached by a local little tiny radio station in New Jersey wanting to know if we would do a paranormal radio show. So we started doing that, and it just grew from there. I did my show for about 5 years, and then Irene came on in the last couple of years as a co-host with me and our other co-host. And once we decided to let that end, because I was getting burned out on the American... Not on American audience, because I love the American audience, but after a while, you just start getting the same old people out there. It's hard to get a lot of different guests, and I think that's what excited me when Irene came up with the idea for Paranormal UK, because again, there's that untapped market of talent and stories, and it's just reinvigorated and been really exciting to do.
No,
I think our success is because we tapped into it right at the right time. Yeah. There just was not anything like this very much over here, and if it was usually a couple sitting in their kitchen with their laptop.
Mm-hmm. Nothing on this level. Nothing on this production.
Nothing
level.
On this level. No. But since we've started, there are a few coming up slowly behind us. But
it's kind of nice though to have that company in a way, because you're kind of trailblazers, and so imitation, of course, is always the most sincere form of flattery. So if they are willing to start something up, that's a direct thank you from them in a roundabout way.
And do you know what's nice about it is there's no competition really between us. We all get on very well together, and it's just really, really nice.
Well, Irene and Mark,
totally different to the American radio.
Irene and Mark are talking with us, and I gotta ask them, and I'm gonna put them right on the spot, and they may not answer. Who has been your favorite guest of all time on your show? Who is the one that tripped your trigger the most? That you're like, oh my God, that person's got it all together.
Good Lord, I don't know.
The Lord? Oh my God,
the Lord showed up, and
I don't know. We've had so many great guests that have come on in the past, brought just different, something different each time. I mean, we've had an opportunity to interview big names, and we've had opportunities to interview people who've never really done radio much before, and they've given great interviews. I can't really point a finger and tell you who. I mean, I mentioned...
Mark, Andy Mercer was good. Andy Mercer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Andy is brilliant.
And as soon as we got on so well with Andy Mercer, and now Andy Mercer actually works with us at Paranormal UK Radio, and his new show, which is Radio
Esoteric, is it?
Hermetica. Yeah, it's one of them long words, isn't it? Comes out next month.
This
month.
That being said,
this month.
About the big names, small names, do you find it more rewarding to have a smaller name on that might be really appreciative of getting the airtime versus the big name?
Yeah, we do like to do that occasionally. We do like to have somebody, or from a ghost hunting group, somebody unknown. They're so interesting.
Because I know Greg and I, we feel the same way. Sometimes some of the best guests that we've had, and we love them all, and they're all great in their own right, have been, of course, that little-known guy or gal out there that's slaving away in this field that hasn't really gotten the light shined on them yet, and they come up, and they have a completely new theory on how this whole thing works that blows your doors off.
That's right.
And and sometimes Greg and I, we've stopped and gone, holy crap. We got to rethink that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something. As a paranormal researcher myself, in the years that we've been doing these shows, interviewing so many people, I think I have learned personally so much, and my paradigm has changed so much towards the paranormal and what we do, that we're looking now in completely different directions just because we've had the opportunity to talk to so many people who interject new ideas. So I think that's one of the big benefits of being a show host, is because you get to learn a lot from other people and their experiences, and you can incorporate that into your own.
Very true.
Yeah.
I would agree, right, Greg? I mean, we've learned from each other, and, of course, we've had some great people on the show that have really floored us, like I said earlier, and I know that's how you feel, just like they do. We always learn something new and exciting every time you hit the microphone.
There's something to be said about people who haven't had like the exposure per se, just been doing things their own way, haven't had a lot of people to kind of move them off that path and get that very natural sort of reaction to paranormal or any of those topics. It's been really good, yeah.
Yeah, well, we do the same with our publishing company, because we've got a publishing company as well.
Yeah, that was part of the whole entrepreneurial thing. We have the group, we have the radio station, and we also have Glennet Thai Publishing. And
we started that, didn't we, Mark, to give, because there's so many good books out there, and they just do not get seen. They send them to publishers, they sit on a table, or they get thrown in a room, and they don't get looked at. So that's why we started Glennet Thai. We started Glennet Thai to give these new sometimes one-time writers a chance to have their books published.
And Irene herself is also an author, and we've published her books, including The Psychic Spy and her autobiography, Among the Spirits.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And Demons Dwell.
Wow, Irene. Man, we're going to have both you guys back on for a full show just to talk about all that stuff as well beyond the radio.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know,
there's other stuff as well. You know, there's the media side.
Let's put it this way: we don't let any grass grow under our feet.
No,
and that's
the
way
why
to be.
Irene never sleeps.
Evidently, it's 1 a.m. over there, and she's up, and the dog is snoring. I'd like to thank both Irene Block and, of course, Mr. Mark Johnson for coming on the show with us, talking with us a little bit about the radio network, and you can definitely check everything out. Why don't you run on over there, check it all out, and hey, say hi to them on Facebook if you see them, which are very available, and I'm sure they'd love to hear from you guys. But that being said, we got to get out of here. We have to run to break. We come back, we're going to have, who we're going to have tonight, Greg?
Tonight, we're going to have from Ghost Hunters, we're going to have paranormal investigator Shari DeBenedetti, and she's going to be talking to us live.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If pop culture is to be believed, roughly 40% of all people are actually vampires, or dating one. Well, undead or not, you can always save on a clean, comfortable room at Motel 6, even if you sleep during the day because direct sunlight turns you into a pile of sparkly coffee grounds. Speaking of which, we have free coffee every morning. You day sleepers may want to go for the decaf. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
Hi, I'm Kip Parker. And I'm Charlie Parker. And we're the Parker Brothers. Hey, Charlie, what's missing from our game catalog? I don't know, Kip. Tell me. Well, you can't talk to the dead. You sure as hell can. That's why we got this brand new game called Ouija. Ouija? Well, break that down for me. Well, it's Wii because you're having a great time, and G, it's because G, aren't you having a blast because you're having a good time with the Wii. It looks like it smelled like a Chinaman got caught in there. Don't question it. Well, Ouija, Kip, tell me about it. Well, inside the package comes a flat board with all the letters of the alphabet, numbers from 0 to 9, and a yes-no written out by itself. Well, that sounds like a lot of stuff going on. That's got a lot of stuff going on indeed, Charlie. It also comes with this planchette, which hovers over the letters the dead are trying to tell you. Well, how does that work, Chip? Well, you ask the question, and then the dead move your hands in the direction of the answers. That sounds like a heck of a way to find Grandpa's slave money. Turns out it was in the attic. But the questions don't have to be as serious as slavery. You can also find out if Sally's got a crush on you. The dead like to answer all sorts of trivial questions. Feels like they'd have better things to do with their time, Kip. No, lost souls are lost forever, and they're really glad to help. Well, gee, Kip, can't you just get any sort of board with numbers and letters and talk to the dead? The dead prefer quality like anybody else. Quality you can only find at Parker & Parker.
The Ouija board, brought to you by the Parker Brothers, available in both white and colored walworts. Separate but equal savings.
Author Steve Asher brings us Hauntings of Trilogy. Steve's first book, Hauntings of the Kentucky State Penitentiary. This first installment of the trilogy tells us the tale of the Kentucky State Penitentiary and why it's so haunted. With every turn of the page will be something new and terrifying. Pick up Steve's new book, Hauntings of the Kentucky State Penitentiary, at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and all better bookstores everywhere.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the Wacky Waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the Wacky Waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to Geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
You're dead! That's how you die! I was faking. I used ninja focus to slow my heart rate down. What are you doing? I'm burying you. I'm alive! I'm alive! You're waking the neighbors! No. Shut up! No! Now I'm gonna play your drum set.
Welcome to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
And welcome back to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts. My name is Greg Bakken, and I am with, as always, the luscious and beautiful Joel Sturgis.
Oh,
how are you
shucks.
doing, Joel?
I'm doing great, big guy. No, I'm doing great. I've never been called luscious and beautiful.
That's frightening.
Yeah,
that voice you did was frightening.
Well,
That's okay. That's
hello,
okay. I mean,
Greg.
It is a paranormal show. It should be frightening. So
Well,
it's all
there.
good.
Yes.
What we're gonna do now, Joel, is because we just got off the phone with Colorado and London, and we just had this wonderful interview with Paranormal UK. But now we're gonna switch back to we're gonna talk to Shari DeBenedetti, and she is part of one of the most successful paranormal series of all time. It has spawned, of course, many people who are part of the Taft family, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. They're all, all across the country and whatnot. And we're going to talk not only about anything that we can talk about with ghost hunters and her experiences, but also her experiences of just everything that got her into the paranormal. And one of the things that I remember when I last talked to her, that she had talked about that it wasn't until the age of 25 that she began to research and investigate the paranormal because of the house she lived in at the time was believed to be haunted. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Shari, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. I seem to recall, and I might have forgotten a little bit of the details. I seem to recall something like a marionette or some kind of creepy incident of something with strings that was once in your closet and disappeared or something like that. I mean,
yeah, that was a Ouija board story.
What? So you had some in your closet. This is Joel, by the way. You had some in your closet just up and disappeared out of nowhere, like it was there one day, and then you went to go get it. It was gone.
It was, you know what? I used to have it hanging on my ceiling, and just decoration stuff. I mean, I was really young, just decorations all over, and I was playing with the Ouija board, and I always just asked for things to move all the time. But this thing moved like crazy. So
wow.
I tore it down, and I threw it in the closet, and I shut the door. And the next time I went to go and find it, I couldn't. Yeah, it was gone. I
it
have
moved.
No idea.
It moved away is what it did. I want you to move. It thought it meant literally. Like, I'm packing my ghostly objects and I'm leaving.
I have no idea. I think this was just about when I actually moved to Massachusetts, so like mid-'80s. And I've never seen it since.
So there was no marionette? Sorry, where did I get marionette from? Did you ever own a marionette?
Well, it was the horse.
The strings.
It was.
Yeah.
So it was, but.
With all the work that you've been doing and doing events and stuff, have you ever crossed paths with Robert Murch? He goes by Murch. He's like this great Ouija board expert and whatnot.
Yeah. I actually saw him at an event maybe like 8 to 10 years ago, and actually I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks because we're both going to be doing events in Salem, so I'll be seeing him then also.
Have you ever talked to him about that? What happened?
Nope.
Why not? Take him aside. Go, hey, Murch, here's the deal, man.
Yeah.
Some creepy crap was happening in my closet, and I swear this time I didn't abduct anybody, and it was really weird.
So here, let's go back to the age of 25, which is a year or two ago, and
yeah.
And what happened because that seems to be. Well, I think we gone through this the last time we talked, actually, where we thought this was the starting point of your paranormal journey. But I mean, it went back a little bit further. But what happened at the age of 25 that was noteworthy?
Yeah. I mean, I have had experiences my whole life, but I just kind of always either turn the other way or threw things in the closet. But that's pretty much it. But once I got to my mid-20s there was a house that we were living in that just kind of became haunted, so it was fine. We lived there, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years or so, and it was fine half the time, but then all of a sudden it just changed. The whole, every little thing, even just like the air, just everything changed. And it got so bad you just didn't even want to walk into the house. So, the regular things as in, the knockings and the lights going on and off and doors opening and closing and footsteps and stuff like that. So that's, the regular stuff that always happened.
I'd like to say, though, interject. You say the regular things. Yeah, that's regular, man. Who doesn't have that in their house? I don't have that in my house.
You do actually have that in your house.
Well, I do have that in my house, but, I also have children that do all that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
Oh.
No, I love them dearly, but they freak me out, man. I could tell you stories about my 3-year-old daughter that has scared the hell out of me because, they're short, right? And so as long as we're on this topic, I will tell you a quick tidbit about what it's like. So
you're a monster.
I know, right? I'm probably going to get some hate mail, but gosh darn it, I love that stuff once in a while. It lets me know I'm doing my job. Here I am, right? And I'm not even paying attention. And I thought she was gone, that she went with her mother to a store, right? And I thought I was home all alone, and I'm reading one of the many paranormal books, getting ready for one of our many interviews. Oh, okay, flipping through it, and it happened to be about... It was actually Steve LaChance's book, Greg. And I'm in it, and I'm reading all about the real exorcist, and I'm kind of getting into it, and things are getting a little, like, whoa, that's crazy. All of a sudden I hear, hello? Hello? What the hell is going on in this house? And I'm looking around going, okay, I gotta be imagining this. Then I see this little figure run by me in a corner of my eye, right? And she steps so soft. It's not even like she's on the ground. And I see this little thing run out of the corner of my eye. Mind you, I only saw the shadow. So I am getting freaked out at this point going, all right, there's something in this house of me. I knew it happened reading this book. And then she comes in going, I'm home, Dad. Oh, it was you that scared me. It was kind of fun. Was her actual response. So I gave her a hug and I said, oh, don't ever do that to me again. So there.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes, not the moment it wasn't, though.
You lost your place because of Joel, didn't you? Yeah. You lost your place because of Joel, didn't you?
I know. Well, you know what? That actually reminded me of the other day. The other night, I was doing another radio show, and right before the radio show, it was so nice outside. I just went outside, and so I did the interview out there. And all of a sudden, the wind kind of picked up a little bit, and all of a sudden, I heard this little girl's voice saying, "Mommy," and I was like, "Oh my God, that's not what I said," but. And I'm like looking, towards where it was coming from, and it was just dark woods. I'm like, oh my God, because normally I don't get scared unless it's in my place, because that's my comfort zone. That's my place. That's
Sure.
I
hear you.
And I have my, I have kids too, so it's kind of, I don't want anybody near my kids and, messing around with that. So that kind of, I was like, oh my God. But, so yeah, that just reminded me of that.
So you being part of Ghost Hunters meant that you went into those dark woods by yourself and investigated what was going on, right?
Yeah. But I didn't that night. I didn't really time because it was like 5 minutes right before they were calling me, and I'm like, I was just trying to get ready, and it was really weird.
So we really interrupted you, and you left off with talking about the normal things that would scare the hell out of the rest of us that was happening in the house.
All those regular things, and then so the one night that really started the whole process of me trying to figure out what's going on, research and all of that was. I got home, it was like 2 a.m, and, I got home, and I just lied down, and as soon as I lied down, something grabbed my ankles.
No way.
And, and just kind of, and put, like, kind of, put it towards the bed so that I couldn't move my legs. And I tried to like move my upper body up, and then that's when they grabbed my wrist and put those to the bed too. And then I tried to yell to my parents down the hall, and then they put their hand over my mouth. Now, when you can, like, I physically like felt hands, so you can feel like the fingers, you know what I'm saying? So you can feel it on your, you know, and even like over your mouth, you feel those fingers. And so then they just kind of pushed my whole body down. And then there was, you know, that weight on your chest, so I couldn't move at all. I couldn't say anything, and so as soon as that happened, an apparition appeared right in on the corner of my bed, and so to me it was a doppelganger of my boyfriend at the time. So the only the moonlight that was coming in, that was kind of like the only light that was in the room. So I could see. You know, I could see, I mean, basically, you know, I mean, the whole outline, the hair, and what it was wearing. It was wearing something like what my boyfriend would have worn. And then it started walking towards me. As it was walking towards me, I can hear like the footsteps on the carpet. I can hear like the, you know, like when the pants are hitting the thighs, you know, like kind of hitting. I heard that and stuff. So he was walking towards me. And then he leaned over to me, and so we're looking, you know, face to face. However, he didn't have a face. His face looked like, you know, like if you're looking out in the sky at dark time, it's just like that distant black look. Mm-hmm. That's all it was. So there was no eyes or anything. It was just that distant black look. And it just stood there looking at me, and again, I have no idea how long for. I don't think it was that long. But then he just got back up, and then he started walking towards the door. And that's when I noticed that he didn't have anything from his knees down. There was nothing. The door opened up right before he got to it, and then he walked out, and then the door closed behind him, and then everything was lifted off. So for a very long time after that, I slept with the lights on. The TV was blasting. Like I was very, you know, I don't want to see any shadows. I didn't want to hear that noise that I heard. So that's why the TV was blasting. I just, you know, just trying to fall asleep. It took a long time because that just absolutely freaked me out. But even going to the house, I mean, I would sit outside in the driveway and calling my parents, like, when are you guys coming home? Because I would not step foot in the house without somebody. It was just like an evil feeling, like an awful feeling.
You know, I live in fear of something crawling in bed with me, and this is no joke now. I'm not trying to make a joke here. We were at the Palmer House recently, me and Greg. Of course, we're doing an event, and the Palmer, of course, is billed as one of the most haunted hotels in America. And one of the frequent phenomena that happens at the Palmer is things will crawl into bed with you. And man, I was up all night praying and hoping that nothing would try to crawl into bed with me. So when you're talking about that incident, I'm like, oh my God, that would scare the ever-loving bejesus out of me. And so really, it definitely leaves a mark on you, and you're not the person to tell me similar stories and how it impacted them moving forward. It actually sparked, of course, their interest in the paranormal, but also ingrained a bit of healthy fear into it as well. You know, I mean, never wanting to have that happen again. Did you start to really research the paranormal as also a defense, so you maybe better understood the phenomena, so maybe there would be a way to maybe manage it better?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's why I kind of went into, you know, what the hell was that? What just happened? What, you know, what's going on? You know, of course, back then it was a little harder because we didn't have the internet stuff. So there's a lot of books that I read, and you know, and there's also a lot of people that you can't talk to. You know, the teens aren't out there like they are now.
Yeah.
And you know, the people around you, you know, you don't know who to really trust to be saying this type of stuff too, because, you know, otherwise you're considered crazy. You know, so I try to just do a lot of just reading a lot of stuff. You know, and of course, you know, ghosts aren't just for, you know, I mean, you start watching that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, the more you research and the more you look up and figure these things out, the less you're scared, you know, of everything. You know, and I wouldn't even mind. I mean, if somebody did come into bed with me, and I was fine with it. Not obviously, nothing happened. Just to kind of put that out there, but they were. But I was okay with it because it wasn't. They weren't harming me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't like they were, you know, like holding me down and I couldn't move. Like, that was just for them to know that they could do that and for them to have that much power. That is scary, but that hasn't happened since. So, I mean, I know I'm just knock on wood just in case, but you know, I mean, it's the more that I know about it, you know, I mean, obviously I think with everybody, the more experienced that you are, the better anything is.
So yeah, the one thing that I was wondering about when you're talking about the story, and that, you know, you got the hands on you, and I you know, I'm not really sure how that turned out. I mean, how it where you exactly were at the time, but was it immediately evident that it was, you know, some kind of paranormal experience, or did you at first kind of wonder, am I being attacked by somebody in my house, like a physical person?
No, I didn't. Well, because I didn't see anybody there. Like I said, like I just turned off the lights. I just went into bed, and as soon as I laid down, that's when the hands went on. But I didn't see anybody there until ankles, you know, wrists, and the mouth, and then all of a sudden he appeared. And again, I mean, my first thought. Well, first of all, I didn't know what to think when there's nothing there, and I have all this stuff going on. I didn't know what to think. And again, I was trying to yell out to my parents, but I couldn't do anything, say anything. And then when this thing appeared, again, it looks like my ex, my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
So my first thing was, wait a second, is he here? Like I just left him. Is it really? Wait, is it? You know, like that was like. You know, for a split second, that's what I was thinking because it looked exactly like him.
Sure.
You know, and then right from there, I was like, no, he's not here. Then what the hell is that? What, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know.
Explaining to other researchers about this happening to you and what you went through, was there any theory on what it was? Possibly. I mean, did they kind of say there was a phenomena, or maybe there was a ghost, or what was their opinion of it?
Nobody actually told me what they thought, and I was never able to go back into the house to investigate. You know, I mean, after we left there, you know, I mean, it never traveled with me. I never went, you know, it didn't.
It was a one-time.
I'm not sure.
Sherry, was a one-time occurrence?
Yes. Now, my mother, in the same house, my mother had a spirit that she saw many, many times. My poor mother went through a lot. She wasn't, I wasn't attacked, but she wasn't physically touched like I was. But she saw her person, like, I don't know, if it's not every day, maybe every other day. Like, she just always saw them. So she got used to it. So she's like, oh, hey, you know. Well, so she, you know, was a little bit better with it. But that one, she said it looked like Abraham Lincoln. Like that look.
Wow.
You know,
Four scores of 7 years.
Guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess
you know what I'm saying? Because if he's a doppelganger, can he go into different people? Like, I don't... You know,
sure.
Or
that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know.
But it sounds like they sure approached it, your mom at least, the way you were describing it, kind of cavalier. Like, oh, there he is again. Not a big deal.
Right. Oh, yeah. He never did anything. He never came towards her. He just appeared, and then that was it. So never once did he ever do anything.
Wow. Man.
So I'm just curious, too, when we were talking earlier, when we had that little bit of sidebar, and you talked about how you're outside and you heard, like, through the wind, like, mama, something like that. Is that a regular occurrence for you? Like hearing, like being in places and kind of maybe getting hints of something going on?
I mean, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I don't normally pick up on a lot of things like that. I'm not sensitive. But every once in a while I do hear things. And I've been noticing if I do hear things or if I do, I guess, think of things, that things will, like I'll notice later on that something happens where I'm thinking, oh my God, I just thought of that, or I just heard somebody saying something and now it's true. So I do get a lot of that type of stuff. And honestly, I don't know what the heck that was. It could have just been the wind that just sounded like some little girl saying mommy. It was just a really freaky mommy. Like that, like a horror movie sound of mommy, so.
Right.
But
and I get the feeling though too that, right? I mean, when it's not just like someone saying it down the street or whatever. I mean, you know what it is. I mean, anyone who does this long enough, they kind of have an idea. I mean, that, because I think Joel probably runs in the same thing. I run in the same thing, that there's something that is seemingly normal, but then at the same time, it's like, I don't know. For example, Joel, children running up and down the hallway at the Palmer for you.
That was really weird. I will say that was weird, and I wanted to explain it away as being whatever, but I really couldn't, to be honest with you. And it's those moments where you just inside. I mean, you just know it in your bones that was odd and that was a paranormal, or at least unknown, above normal. And you had that moment, then you try to rationalize it for a minute. Was it me being tired, or was it the wind? But really, at the end of the day, you just know. You know what I mean? We just have this inherent knowing of what is paranormal and what isn't.
What I think about that is when you're in the whole thing of, when you're investigating, when you're at a place, when you're I mean, for me, my senses obviously are heightened. Mm-hmm. But if I'm at home and just chilling, I kind of shut down on that stuff. Like that's my home. I'm with the kids. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm working. So I'm not thinking of that stuff. So if something happens, I dismiss a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, when I'm out investigating, all your senses go up, and and you just try to listen and pay attention to every little thing that goes on, because that's that's
then you find
what you're there for.
Then you kind of find yourself just kind of an addendum thought to that whole thing we were talking about. Your senses, though, because they are so heightened in the dark, can give you that false positive of the paranormal as well. So you got to have that perfect medium between them. Kind of still being skeptical, but yet understanding that, yes, your senses, like your hearing, absolutely skyrockets when you can't see.
And that's why you debunk and disprove, whatever is going on, and you try to get to the bottom of it. But yeah, I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do, I mean, we're still have a couple minutes before we go to break, but I want to kind of save the whole ghost hunters, like everything that you're doing with it, until after we get back from break, because we're going to be able to get a lot further into that. But can you just give us like a real quick breakdown of what your event is coming up? We have like about 30 seconds.
Cinema Salem?
Yes.
That event?
Yep.
Yeah, no, we're going to do the Cinema Salem. It's on October 7, and actually the Haunted Towns, which is on Destination America, they actually just went in there. That was on a couple weeks ago. So that's coming up, Salem, Massachusetts, and I think there's only like 5 more tickets left if anybody is
oh my God.
Wow,
I'm interested, but I don't live anywhere near you people. So
that's why they make cars and airplanes.
Well, a funny story there.
Oh, that's why they make those. I didn't. Now I know. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that.
They also make a thing called the airplane too. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's what I said. Cars and airplanes. I know.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Well, I don't have a car at the moment. Mine got busted up, so I'm still trying to find one. And maybe I'm just going to drive a penny farthing. Anyone know what a penny farthing is? Okay, that's what I thought.
No, you're wrong audience, man. Those guys already left. They would have got it.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's good. So I guess, Joel, what we're going to do is we're going to head to break, right?
Sure. Let's get out of here, man. Let's go pay some bills. Be right back with more After Hours AM Deeper Cuts right after this. You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
It's your ideas, work, and creativity that make it your yard. At Ace, we're here to help with hoses and sprinklers to nurture growth, gardening tools for the shape of good things to come, even the right fertilizer and bug killers to make the grass a little greener. You'll find it all now at Ace, your place, with everything you need for your yard, plus helpful advice, almost like we're right there. Ace,
the helpful place.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
And welcome back to After Hours AM. It's a Deeper Cuts edition, and thank you for joining us along with Joel Sturgis, who is lovely as ever, wearing a feathered boa. I can see him right now.
I sure hope you like what I'm wearing for you.
Wow. And trying to keep this serious and interesting, we have Shari DeBenedetti, who is a paranormal investigator. She's also a paranormal investigator on the series Ghost Hunters. Welcome back, Shari. Are you done with us? Are you have you had enough, or you want to keep going? I mean, I don't blame you for just like, see ya.
Yeah, you guys are too weird for me.
No, I'll give you a few more minutes.
Thank you, appreciate it. I was just so you know, I was looking up prior to the break what a car is, and I get it now. So thank you for that little bit of advice prior to the break.
They sell them at dealerships, don't you know? They're right there.
The amount of time it's taken me to get a car, I think people are actually really wondering, does he know what one is? Because why would it have taken a month for him to get a car? I got into a car accident back in August, and I'm still waiting for the insurance money, and so obviously I'm not going to keep going. It got totaled, so I didn't, luckily, but the car did.
What are they sending your check via Pony Express? Come on, get a move on here.
I think the best part is Shari's reaction, like, yeah, car accident. Good for you. You know,
good for you. At least you survived, I guess.
So interested.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So interested in the life of Greg. Oh yeah, car accident, dead.
Yeah, we're all very interested, Greg. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we're all very interested.
Well, and to be fair, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you and everything that's going on. And it's very, it's there. There was something this week, I believe. An article came out. Something I think Jason had some remarks about the future of ghost hunters, and it's the most that we've heard so far, but it's still not a ton of information.
So tell us, you guys come back or what?
You know, let's see. I mean, you guys read the article. I mean,
I didn't.
That's all there is right now. It's just, you know, there are.
You're looking.
Look at her. She's tap dancing. She knows a whole lot more than she's telling over there, Greg. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying. There's a few, networks that they're interested. He's talking. Him and Pilgrim Studios. They're talking, and it's still, I don't know where he's going. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he knows at this point either exactly where he's going.
See, we're going to see. We're going to see Jason.
We also.
We're seeing Jason next month, and I'll ask him that same question. So, Shari says that you guys got picked up. Now, who'd you get picked up by? No, I won't do that.
Joel, you're not reading. You got to read between Shari's lines here, because I think probably next month Destination America will probably announce the Shari DeBenedetti investigations of her doing her own show.
Yeah. A spin-off show, kind of like kind of like Joni Loves Chachi.
No, just because that's the only place that's ever investigated Cinema Salem, so that's kind of why I just I mentioned that. So no, I honestly, I don't know which networks he's talking to. I have no idea. But just like Sci-Fi did in the beginning for him, they kept it the way that he wanted it. Mm. It's a reality show. It is what it is. They follow us, and they're not allowed to change it. And a lot of these networks go in there and they like to change it and make it their own thing, and that's not what Ghost Hunters is about. Mm-hmm. So he wants to make sure it's his.
I'm going to put your
you know what I'm saying?
Sherry, I'm going to put your feet to the fire a little bit, being that you have been on TV and Ghost Hunters. What's your view on other shows like Ghost Adventures and Shepherdstown and stuff like that? Your feet to the fire a little bit. I hate to put you on the spot. Do you love them, hate them, or do you wish it'd just go away?
Wow. First off, I don't watch any of the shows.
Me neither.
Any other shows. I did watch The Haunted Towns only because it was going into Salem, and it was going into, it was going into a place that I was going into and stuff. So, of course, I want to watch it. And I'm, friends with them.
Sure.
With one of them. And, so supporting, so I support them. There are other shows that I don't really watch, but not because I don't want to watch them. It's because I'm not there. Mm-hmm. I like to investigate. I like to be there. I like to see what what I experience. For me, it's I have a hard time believing people, and it's not to say people, but just because I know that other shows they to go in there and do certain things, whether it's I'm not saying that it's fake. I'm just saying I'm not there, so I don't know the truth.
Do you think that maybe? Let me just put it this way, and this is, you don't have to mention any names. Obviously, we don't want you to. But do you believe that in some of the programming out there is some liberties taken with the evidence? And we have heard more and more coming out of that rabbit hole about few different things. Now, is that something that's not uncommon? Because, again, we're not on the camera. We've never worked on one of these shows. But you kind of, in a way, had that inside track. Are there some manipulations going on, would you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? I don't have proof either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have no idea. I'm not there. I'm not with them. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's real. I don't know what's not real. The only thing that I know is that if you have an episode and something happens, like in every episode, it's, you know, I mean, you guys investigate. Sometimes you go out there and it's like, oh man, there's nothing going on. You know, it's quiet. It's not, you know, and it's not scary all the time. It's, you know, you're not getting spooked all the. I mean, you're investigators, and you've been doing this for so many years. You should be used to all this stuff. Why are you scared and running and yelling and, you know what I'm saying? So I don't believe it, and I just sometimes there's a little too much exaggeration and I don't like it. But that's me personally. Everybody
Sure.
has their
No,
own way of
absolutely.
investigating,
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. A couple of the points that you brought up, and Joel, I know I've talked to you in the past about how, you know, people will send me evidence, and I'm talking friends and also who go out and investigate. They're really excited about something, and I'll listen to it and or see it, and it just really doesn't do anything to me. And Shari, I think it's a really interesting point that it's like part of the thing about investigating is being out there, being able to feel what's happening on the field and be able to experience the things that help create that evidence that you end up getting. And for me, just to see someone send something and I'm not experiencing any of that stuff leaves me actually very flat.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll get now.
I mean, you know, a lot of people but I mean, I get a lot of people sending me pictures and people sending me videos and everything, and I just, you know, and I say the same thing to everybody, whether they're friends or whatever. I'm like, I am sorry, but I need to be there. I need to experience it myself. I need to know the environment. I need to know what's going on. And pictures, you can't just send me one picture. I need to know before, after, who's all there, what's going on. You know, I'm like, you need to know all this stuff. And it's hard to tell, you know, on TV also with what's going on, which is why I don't really watch it. I can't get excited watching those shows.
See, now, I enjoy it. I get a lot of audio evidence because I'm an audio engineer, and so I'll go over a lot of EVP stuff like that for people. And I like it that I'm not there because I can look at it with a skeptical eye and be like, okay, just look at the evidence for what it is, what wavelength is coming in on. In fact, one guy, I know him very well, he's very well known in the field, gave me what he just called a demon growl. And I listened to it, and I listened to it, and I listened to it, watched the wavelengths, I looked how they acted, and I turned around and I went, wait a minute, I know that noise. I used to own a Ford truck, and that's the same noise that my Ford F-150 would make. And so I got back to him and I said, hey, were you by an interstate or a highway, I mean, even a few hundred yards away? Yeah. What were you using for recording? Parabolic microphone. Oh, well, there you go. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's a 302 Ford you're hearing going down the highway. I could tell because it has a little bit of a lifter rattle to it. So, I mean, it's not always a gem.
And think about, I mean, you happen to know that because you knew trucks, but what about somebody who had no idea what trucks are? They'd be like, oh my God, yeah, you have a demon there.
Well, exactly, you know? So exactly. And so that's why I tell people, send it to multiple locations, people you trust, that you know you can trust. Get that objective ear on it, or eye, you know, if you really think this is paranormal, because you got to do your due diligence to debunk it and really challenge the evidence.
Right.
You know, I also when you talked about people getting scared and leaving and whatnot, one of my favorite paranormal shows, you know, besides Ghost Hunters, of course, is actually no. I used to watch My Ghost Story. I used to love that because there was a lot of evidence from different people, and they actually would play some of those. A number of times you would have people in there who were part of paranormal teams who weren't getting anything that was evil or anything like that, but just like maybe something would move, or they might see a reflection in a mirror, or might see a shadow person, and they're like, then we packed up and we got the hell out of there. It's like, well, what's the point of you investigating if the first sign of anything that's not what you would consider normal, you're out of there? And that to me is, it's very counterproductive to what paranormal teams should be doing to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I actually was on my ghost story a long time ago. One of the, because I live right out here in Salem, in one of the paranormal companies, I worked with them, and they had, so they were actually on it, but so I just did like reenactments of some of the things that they actually experienced on their stuff. It was a long time ago, but yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't really watch the show. I don't really watch too much TV, so it's not just paranormal. I really just don't watch too much TV
Well,
to begin with.
I was going to ask, if you were not connected to ghost hunters and you weren't part of any show whatsoever, would you watch paranormal shows anyway, or or are you just more of like, I just want to be out in the field?
Well, I always watched ghost hunters. Always. You know, since the beginning. So, but when others came out, I just, again, I didn't really like how they did it. So I just, you know, so I just didn't watch it. You know, and also I became friends with Jason and Grant forever ago. You know, when they started doing their events and stuff, which is how I started. You know, so I met them at the events, and my ex-husband and I, we used to go to the events a lot. So, you know, just became really good friends. Them, their families, my families. And so we just kind of grew, you know, close together. And so, well, because I know that question's coming up, so I might not get into it. So I did, when, you know, things were going on with ghost hunters and they were looking for another person, I got the call from Jason, and just to see, you know, what I thought. So, you know, I talked to Pilgrim Studio, talked to Jason, talked to Sci-Fi, and you know, Jason knows how I investigate. He knows my personality. I mean, I get along with everybody, most people, and you know, so, and he knows my personality. Obviously, he knows everybody on the team's personality. So, you know, I can kind of, you know, fit in between there, and the way I investigate, he knows how I investigate. So, you know, which is pretty much kind of like how they investigate. You know, so it was just, I guess, a good fit. So it wasn't any, you know, that's, I mean, it's not a crazy story, but that's all it is. So, you know.
Well,
yeah,
now,
we've known each other for a long time.
Shari, are you locked into a contract with the Ghost Hunters, or could you go, conceivably, to another show if you decide to? If the right opportunity came up, would you go somewhere else, and could you go somewhere else?
Not right now. I cannot, because I am in a contract.
Yeah, probably non-compete, I'm assuming, right? Non-compete contract?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's same thing in radio, man. They do the same thing over here in radio as well. And I was curious of whether or not that was in play, because I know that you would be wonderful in any of the shows that you were ever to be a part of. But, of course, Ghost Hunters is the one that anyone would want to be a part of, because, after all, they're the ones that started this crazy, in a lot of ways, this crazy industry. I mean, they were the archetypes.
Right. I mean, I can't even... I mean, the way that I am, I can't even imagine going to another show. You know, I mean, I love the team. You know, I love the way that they do stuff. So it would be very difficult to go on another team. And it's not, you know, it's not a TV thing. It's working. It's working with them. You know, like you know, I mean, to me, it's like still overwhelming when when I'm working with them. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with them, you know? So that's what it's about. It's not about like what, you know, okay, what station can I go, you know, what TV things
Right.
I go to. It's not about that. Yeah.
So the real question was, so you're not going, when Joel asks for you to join his paranormal show, you are not going to want to be a part of it. That's what you're saying. Let's just be honest about it. He can take it. Well, not really, but he will try. He's going to be brave about it.
Well, maybe we could talk in 2 years.
Love to have you on.
Well,
now we know. At least you're open to negotiation. You know. No, but getting back to basically ghost hunters, and of course, like I said earlier, they are the ones that started this all off on television. Of course, not totally. We had Sightings and In Search Of and all those great shows beforehand, but they were the ones to bring the reality TV segment to the paranormal, where you actually followed a team and you saw it for what it was. And does that get a little intimidating sometimes when people go, wow, you know, when you have to go out there and you've been on ghost hunters and maybe they're expecting the glitz and glam, but you show up, you're just Shari. I mean, is there ever that kind of letdown? Because I get that on radio. People expect this persona no matter where I go. And so sometimes it's like, I'm not always on the radio. It doesn't mean I'm always going to be this way. Do you get the same reaction once in a while where you just don't want to be that person?
No, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question because I kind of lost you in the middle.
Well,
but,
what I mean is, ghost hunters isn't your identity, but it kind of becomes your identity. And then when you go to like an event and they want you to be that ghost hunter person, and maybe not all the time you want to be that ghost hunter person, is there ever a conflict? Is there ever where you just kind of just want to be you and not be known as a ghost hunter?
You know what? I don't mind having people know that I am because it sparks up conversation, and a lot of the conversations that I have with people brings out issues that people have, and all of a sudden they not that they get excited, but they get very comfortable with me. And then they start saying, well, you know what? And then they tell me their problems. And not that I want to listen to problems, but they think paranormal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Even got a woman the other day, and she was worried about her son. And then the son has issues. And so it just goes on. And to me, this is why I got into the business, because what the issues that I went through in that house was awful. And so I get it. I understand the fear that living with that fear of not knowing what's going to happen day by day, of, okay, is that going to happen again, or whatever it is. So this is the reason why I'm in the business. And so I like to help people. So I honestly don't mind when people find out what I do. And then all of a sudden it's just question after question, because that's what I'm doing. That's why we all do it. It's just we're teaching people and we're trying to make them feel comfortable and tell them all these different things that, it could be this, it could be that. If you want an investigation, sure, we'll come right in and, we'll help you out, whether it's going to be me or somebody else, depending on where they are. But that's why we do it, is to help people.
It's nice. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that, because I sometimes wonder about people in general and why they get into doing paranormal investigations. Do you do private investigations at all, or do you kind of just, because I can only imagine that it becomes a bit difficult having been on the show. And then, I would assume that if you opened yourself up to be available for private investigations, that everybody would want you to take part in one. So I'm just curious if you're doing a lot or any of that, or is it a lot less now because of ghost hunters?
Actually, when I do I still do private ones around my area, but I never like if people ask me, if I know the people, obviously I'll go and help them, friends and family and stuff. But if there are people that I don't know, there's other people that will take care of all the information, and they don't say that I'm going. It's not like, oh, Shari from Ghost Hunters is coming in. They don't say it. They know that I don't want that. And even sometimes, we'll just be joking around, and they'll call me a different name. So they'll call me Terry instead of Shari. Terry, what do you think about this? Like, oh, right, whatever. And so we just go throughout the whole night, and they just call me a different name, so that there is no issue, and that and because sometimes when people find out about it, there's you could sit there for 2 hours, 3 hours just talking, and I don't want to be rude and be like, watch this investigation, and we don't have time to talk about that. So I just go alias sometimes.
Sure, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and I think I do fall in this category, that are a little on the shy side off microphone or off camera. So I'm right there with you. Sometimes I just kind of want to be known as someone else just for a minute. Yeah, I mean, actually, when people approach me about the radio show, because we have a huge audience, I kind of clam up. And Greg actually brought that to my attention. Remember that, Greg? Like, dude, you might want to talk a little bit.
Yeah. It was funny to watch you squirm, and luckily I have it on video.
He does have it on video. It was very, very hard. It was like, oh my God, don't talk to me. How do I know?
So that's very interesting. Because you kind of, you do wonder. For those of us who are just, we have this wonderful opportunity to talk to you, and that we're able to kind of see how people react being in different scenarios, such as TV shows and stuff, like how it affects your paranormal mission, if you will, I guess. I mean, because I can imagine being on something like Ghost Hunters is a blessing in a lot of ways, but also maybe curse is too harsh, but you have to approach a lot of things differently, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It is a little bit different because I used to have, my own group a long time ago. When I did all the cases and stuff, and did all of that stuff myself. But now I don't. So other people do that, and I just kind of go in and help them out and all that. A lot of cases I'll just throw down to the TAPS headquarters, and and then they can distribute it to whoever's close by, whoever needs help. So I don't. I try not to. If the people don't know who I am, then I just don't. And a lot of times people don't know who I am because, if you think about watching the TV, we're in the dark, so I don't look anything like if the people see me in person.
Yeah.
So that helps too.
So you've kind of taken over also a mentor role, it kind of seems like, for other groups. And so that's a great thing. It really is, because then we can help them, and plus kind of work on that anonymity to some extent, so they can come back to you and you're a great sounding board.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think of myself being on Ghost Hunters. I think of myself helping out my friends and other groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I never think about it that way. And I don't think of, I know more than them because I'm on the show. I don't. We're all doing the same thing. It's just I'm there and they're here. I mean, I don't really think of it, me being a mentor. I don't know. I just don't think of it that way.
So we have about 2 minutes before our final break. And so this TAPS thing, is that pretty big? I'm just kidding.
What is that again? Is that a shoe manufacturer?
Literally, Shari's just going to, one of these questions, Shari's just going to be, and goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks, buttheads.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask that, in all seriousness, is simply because, when you're talking about going to the TAPS headquarters and they filter it out and whatever. And I know I can name 2 paranormal groups in Minnesota right now who are part of the TAPS family. And I mean, it's just the whole idea of this massive network that, people from other states goes to the TAPS headquarters to say we have a problem, and then they send it back out. I mean, that's that's just really neat to me.
Oh God, absolutely.
And does it resemble the back?
It's amazing what what Jason did, and for him to have a home base where like everybody, no matter where the heck they live, can just call the headquarters and I mean there's I don't want to say definitely, but there's most likely somebody that's going to be close by that could just go out and help them. Because people unfortunately have to be careful who they call. Mm-hmm. You just can't have anybody in the house. So it's nice to know that these TAP groups, they can, what's the word? What's the word I'm thinking?
That they're vetted and they're vetted and they know exactly who they are when they send them out.
Yeah, they're trustworthy. So
exactly.
Absolutely. Huge. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Shari, and I want to get into stuff about what a episode of Ghost Hunters looks like in terms of production-wise, and get more into that sort of thing. You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
In 1999, The Exorcist was voted the scariest movie of all time.
Your daughter doesn't say she's a demon. She says she's the devil himself.
Entertainment Weekly calls it the most viscerally harrowing movie ever made.
That thing upstairs isn't my daughter.
The most electrifying movie of the 20th century is now coming back to theaters.
Where's Reagan?
In here with us.
Author William Peter Blatty and director William Friedkin have created an expanded, thrilling new version of The Exorcist with footage that has never been seen before.
She needs a priest.
Don't miss The Exorcist in the version you've never seen. Possessing theaters everywhere. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
You're listening to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts.
Cutting deep into what skews.
Welcome back to After Hours AM Deeper Cuts. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me, as always, the super awesome Greg Bach. And tonight we're talking about all things Ghost Hunters with our favorite Ghost Hunter, just because she's on the show right now, Shari DeBenedetti. Wow. I'm totally joking. She understands that. But no, I actually did enjoy you quite a bit on Ghost Hunters. You came in on season 10. And of course, then season 11 was the last season. Was it bittersweet when that thing wrapped up? What is like Greg had said on the going out, what does a day in the life of production look like on a Ghost Hunter set?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, to do an episode, it's at least a 2-week process. And of course, the bigger the place, then the more time, the longer you have to the longer to film. And we're out for at least 12 to 14 hours a day, just on the property, and of course setting up the equipment, which a lot of people always ask, do we set up the equipment? Yes, we set up the equipment. We change all the batteries. And we even go through all the equipment ourselves. A lot of people always ask, so I figured I'd just throw that out there. So we do everything, and it's the film company who that's all they do, is they just follow us around and they film us. So we do whatever we want to do. We go wherever we want to go, and we say whatever we want to say, and they just follow us. And
who edits it, though? I mean, who edits the show, and is there criteria they have to stick to while editing?
I'm assuming. I don't really know. I mean, I'm assuming between Pilgrim and Sci-Fi. I mean, I don't really know who actually does it because I don't do it myself. So I don't know who specifically does it. You can ask Jason that next month when you see him.
No, that makes sense. So I mean, and I suppose, because I mean, I'm assuming that Jason sits in the edit suite with him to make sure that everything is kind of on the up and up, in terms of they're not pulling a fast one in terms of trying to edit things around, whatnot. Yeah. Is there any like healthy competition between members of the team to maybe try to get their bit of evidence in, or is that not, or do you guys just get the evidence and then when you're done, and you don't really see what makes it in until the show airs?
Well, going through the evidence, as you can see towards the end of the show, we talk about, all of our personal experiences, everything that we found. So as a group, we all, we do that. And if there's any issues of, when in doubt, throw it out type of thing, so if we don't all agree, it most likely is out. But no, we don't see, I mean, Jason does, but we don't see the actual, show until it airs. So we never know what's,
you don't see the dailies.
There's a lot of things that happen. And then you wonder, oh my God, did they show that? Oh my God, I said this, are they going to put that? So we don't know half the stuff that they're going to, what they're going to put on there. Because we joke around a lot too, so I always wonder if half those jokes are going to make it on TV, because they shouldn't. So, but it's also tough. So now when we watch the show, we tweet out to everybody. And we get a lot of people who are very, well, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that? Well, of course the boat makes noise. The boats make noise. They really comment on every little thing.
Yeah.
And, we try to get back to as many people as we can, but we keep trying to tell people we know what the regular noises are. We've been sitting there for hours. So, you pick up all the noises as part of what you do. You sit there, you kind of kick in all the environmental noises and all of that. So you know what noises are what. You can, what's different and everything else. And obviously the show is not going to show us go after every noise, because we only have 43 minutes. So we're filming for at least 2 weeks, you know, and it's breaking down to the 43 minutes. So, yet we did go and look to see what the, you know, that noise was. We did do this. We did do that. We, you know, and that gets a little, you know, crazy. I mean, I get some people just don't understand, but, you know, it's so that's a little crazy trying to get back to people and just trying to kind of prove to yourself to them, and just explaining it over and over and over again.
A good friend of mine's Nick Groff, and I'm sure you know Nick. And one thing that we've talked about, and he's been on the show hundreds of times now, and he's pretty much he's on the show so much I swear he could host. But the thing of it is I know we love him dearly, and he's really a busy guy. But one thing he did bring up with the evidence is sometimes they'll miss something that is incredible, and it'll air, and one of the viewers that with a sharp eye will catch it. And he's like, that is so cool. That's such a good feeling knowing that people are so interested in what we're doing that they are catching things sometimes that we are not. Has that happened to you guys yet? Have you had that moment where a viewer caught something that maybe kind of went through, maybe didn't get caught right away, and then upon further review, oh my God, that listener, I don't want to say listener because we're on radio, but that viewer was absolutely correct. There was something strange there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it happened while I was there. I haven't personally heard of that happening, but again, you know, I mean, this has been going on for 10, you know, like 10, you know, 9.5 seasons prior to me. So I'm sure, you know, I mean, it does sound familiar, you know, but not while I was there. There has been instances where we had evidence that did not show up on the TV. You know, so like if we found something later, but it was already, you know, edited and sent in, so okay, well that, you know, that didn't show up. So we did have, you know, things like that. But as for the people, you know, a lot of things that they said, I mean, I've known, you know, we kind of all said, we all had an answer for something. So.
Very cool.
So when a new episode airs, do you have a party? Do you have, like, do you get together with anyone else from the show? Do you watch it? You know, it's just one of those weird things that's like, I think, you know, I'm always curious to know if you have work that you've created and it gets broadcast out, what do you do on those nights? Do you watch them?
There was a few times where we were actually still filming and the show was on, and they had to tweet, so we'd all go in one room. You know, everybody's just sitting on their phones, you know, tweeting out to everybody, but we were still filming, so yeah, we'd all hang out. If we weren't filming, I would be home, and family and friends would come over, so they would be, you know, having some wine and, and whatever, and but I would be sitting on my phone, you know, tweeting out to everybody. I mean, I don't think I've watched the whole thing straight through, just because I'm trying to watch it, and then I'm down trying to, you know, respond to people as much as I can and look back up. But the other thing is that I don't like to watch myself, and I think that, like, a lot of people have that issue.
Yeah.
But you know, like, nobody wants to see themselves on, you know, on TV or anything. So, yeah. So I kind of, it's. I'm not used to that. But the other thing is that which is really weird, is listening to my family and friends' comments. You know, so they'll be like, oh my God. And they're like, oh my God, I have the goosebumps. Oh my God, I can't believe you just went in there. Oh my God. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Like, how can you be this scared and, like, you're watching TV, you're not there. Like, how can you be this scared? Like, it was just very weird to me. And I'm looking at them like they're strange.
Well, you know, now we kind of talked about ghost hunters, how it works, what it's like to be on TV, and your experiences now throughout the years of investigating and looking into it all and everything. What do you think? I mean, what are dead people? Are they truly spirits of the departed, or do you think there's more to it? What's going on in the paranormal? What makes it tick?
You know, again, for what I believe. I just think this is a whole bunch of different things going on. You know, I mean, I do believe that there are spirits that are kind of stuck here. I do believe that, you know, many went over and then they came back. I believe in guardian angels. You know, I definitely believe that our loved ones, past ones, you know, just are coming back. And I also believe like there's just different realms of things that are going on. Now, I do also believe in UFOs because I've seen one. Aliens, I have no idea. I've never seen one, so I don't know. Bigfoot, I don't know what the hell's going on with Bigfoot because I've never seen one. But, so, I mean, I believe that there are so many different things that are out there.
Sure. I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, I've been out there looking for Bigfoot. I've been out there in MUFON looking for the UFOs. I'm no closer than you are to figuring out what they all are. I can say I've seen strange things in the air that made me go, wow, what the hell is that? And I've also seen, what I think was a Bigfoot. But, boy, do I really have that great evidence. No, I don't. But it sure keeps me intrigued to what it is. Now, you know, the biggest buzzword, and I'd say, wouldn't you say, Greg, the last 10 years, the demon word. Okay, how often, in your opinion, Shari, do people really run into these demonic underworld dwellers?
Oh, you know, it's very difficult for me to understand how some people run into them all the time. I don't get it, but it doesn't happen to me, so I don't know, and I don't want to discredit them because I don't know what they're going through. I have no idea. But, I mean, as for me, I think I've, you know, and even that thing that held me down, is it demonic? It didn't harm me. You know, I mean, it you know, so I wouldn't even say that was demonic. And after all the years that I've been doing this, I've never run into anything that I seriously had to run or whatever, or just, you know, it was that bad.
Sure. You never had the dude run moment.
Yeah.
Where you had to get out of there. And
never. I mean, it never happened. I'm not saying, you know, that people are crazy and it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it never happened to me. But is it because I'm not scared and it's not after me, or if I have no idea. I do know, which is the craziest thing that's happened in front of me, which there was this guy he was like over 200. I don't know what the heck, what it was, but he was lifted up about maybe like 2 to 3 feet or whatever, and then thrown, and then when he hit the floor, he kept sliding. So that's how much force that this thing would just picked him up and threw him with so much force that he picked up, he was thrown, and then he slid across the floor until he hit the set of stairs that was there with his head, which obviously made him stop. So to see something like that right in front of me, I definitely believe that there is crazy things out there.
Sure.
But I wasn't scared. Like, it wasn't. I didn't have that scare feeling, that harm feeling. Like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. Or what? It wasn't. It just. I didn't. It wasn't like against me. It wasn't going towards me. It wasn't angry at me. I don't know. But so, do I believe in that stuff? Absolutely. But you know, again, I just don't know if too many people out there are just so afraid of everything that they just think everything is a demon.
Sure. Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of media out there.
Some people like that, yeah.
You know, there's, Greg, really quick, I just want to throw out there just kind of addendum to that, is intent plays a lot in what you run into. So if you're out there going, I want to run into a demon, that puts intent out of the universe. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes what you really want to run into, it'll oblige you. I mean, that's what I've been told several times by demonologists and everybody else. But that's one thing. In my opinion, if you're a mean jerk in life, chances are you're going to be a mean jerk in death. Does not mean that you're demonic. And go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. I was just going to ask kind of the flip side to it, because I think a lot of people, they ask me when I do interviews and whatnot, they'll ask me, what's the scariest thing that ever happened to you? But I want to ask you, what would be the most enlightened thing that ever happened to you that you could attribute to doing a paranormal investigation?
Let me just think. I
broke Shari. I broke her.
She's done for. You busted her.
Look, I'm glad I didn't ask this at 7:40.
Time to go. I know. No, so I don't even know. I think it has to happen at a ghost investigation, or is it just something that happened to me, or
whatever works for you?
Whatever. Well, having the best thing that's ever happened to me, that just absolutely was connecting to my grandfather after he had passed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, like the whole feeling thing. He had all the equipment, just crazy going, and then I got a picture of him through the mirror.
Wow.
And so that was, it was obviously, it was just amazing feeling that you get after that.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why I definitely believe in, ghosts and and spirits and guardian angels and I just always believe in that. And to this day, even like psychics and mediums, every time I go, they're always saying my grandfather was with me. My grandfather, like every single person always says that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I believe all psychics and mediums, so, but there are a few out there. So that is the best thing that's ever happened to me. There is another guardian angel type of thing with a grandfather. Was I did an investigation one time. His mother called me up. Her son was having issues. And long story short, basically this kid just turned 15 years old and he started drinking, and he obviously, so now drinking and driving and all of that stuff. And his great-grandfather used to be a drunk, and he was living in his house. That's where they live. And so the great-grandfather was basically doing all this stuff to the kid, talking in his ears. He's knocking on the door. He hears like the footsteps. All these little knick-knack things used to be moving around. So he used to do all of these things in front of this kid, which obviously is, making him scared. So he's telling his mother, which in turn, tell me. So we go out there and we investigate, and it was basically him saying that this boy is drinking. And, and we told him, like, you come clean to us. Like, you don't have to say anything in front of your mother right now, but you need to come clean to us because we're here to investigate, to try to figure out what's going on and who it is and what they need to tell you and this and that, whatever. So he did come clean, saying, he has been drinking a lot and everything. And so much that, he shouldn't be driving, and he almost got into a couple of accidents, he just started telling us the whole story. And then the mother came back into the room, and he ended up telling the mother everything. So after that, everything went quiet because, like, he stopped doing what he wasn't supposed to be doing and everything. So, so his great-grandfather just came in to warn him, his guardian angel and everything. And And I think what also scared him is that there was one time he was like sitting next to a lamp, and the lamp it sounded like somebody like hit it like with their hand. It was like one of those shade lamps. Mm-hmm. So if you hit it with your hand, so the whole thing was shaking, and it was right next to him, so it scared the crap out of him. So that helped, He's like, okay, I'm going to stop, And then also with that story is that when the great-grandfather also apologized to his son. So the son would never step foot into the house. So he grew up into that house and just had a really, really bad childhood because the great-grandfather, was an alcoholic, treated his kids really bad. But now the son's daughter and grandson are in the house, but he would never step foot in it. Mm-hmm. So, I had the reveal and everything, and I said to the woman, I'm like, you need to have your father come in here. And it took a while, but, I'm like, you have to come in, and he did, and then he heard the EVP saying that he was sorry. Mm-hmm. And, and then he started crying, so everybody else was, it's like, it was very emotional, and
man.
And then ever since that, he was able to go in. It was kind of okay, that's relief, and he just forgave him, and okay, everything is good. Yeah, so after that he was able to walk in there, and I mean, it's been years he didn't go in there, and so that's kind of my favorite.
That's a heartwarming story. It really is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That is very incredible. But, on the flip side of that coin, how many people that you encounter are absolutely full of BS? I mean, because that as well. In fact, that's one of the questions in the chat. They said, hey, great tale. That's really uplifting, heartwarming. You're doing, excuse me, folks, everything for the right reasons. And we're really, really enjoying this interview, and we hope to hear more from her. But what does she do with the fakers out there? Because it's so prevalent these days, it's hard to weed out the real from the fake. What is her trick?
Well, I mean, as you guys know, there's a huge questionnaire before you even go out. You need to know what these stories are, who they are, what they do, what medications that they're on, from drinking to drugs. I mean, you kind of have to know everything, and you need to get very personal with these people. Of course, you try to look up. Now that it's a little easier nowadays, because you can look up Facebook and stuff like
Sure, you can see the personality type. Absolutely.
Yes, you can kind of check that out. And of course, the other thing is that I'm never going into a place alone. I mean, I have a group of guys with me, maybe one other girl, but I usually bring, the guys with me. And so, I mean, I'm never alone. So at least you can figure it out. I mean, there are a couple of times where people, they think it's a party. So they set up a whole bar and they have a buffet.
Grandma's over there. Yeah. Everyone shows up.
There.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. So it's kind of, so we do run into that too, where we just have to turn around and either everybody leaves and you want to do the investigation, or we leave. It's that simple. We're not here for your entertainment, because it's free. It's free. It's free entertainment.
I showed up one time. Yeah, I know what you mean. I showed up one time to one of them, and it was like everybody, like 7 generations back, was visiting, going, hey, we're here to see the ghost hunter people. What's going on in the house? Next thing you know, they're cracking the beer, turning on the game. Yeah.
I mean, my favorite is the people that will come to me and be like, I'd like to do a ghost hunt with you, which is, always odd. And you're like, okay. And they're like, I just want to get scared. Like, it's not, no pun intended, it's not a show. It's not like a ride at Valley Fair, because what's going on there will come home with you if you're not careful. And they don't seem to understand that too well.
Here's $10. Go get a ticket to it.
Yeah, right.
Scared, you know what I mean? So yeah. No, I hear you, and of course, the paranormal field. I've been in it a long time, way before Ghost Hunters started. So I remember when it was, working in obscurity, And really, my only sounding boards are like Barry Taft and a few others that would actually talk to you and say, try to help you along. But quite honestly, the show Ghost Hunters really did a lot of good. It opened up avenues for people that normally wouldn't have. It brought the paranormal to the mainstream, where before it was more of a laugh under their breath at you when you tell them you're a paranormal investigator. So quite honestly, it's done a lot for the community.
Yeah. Oh, God, absolutely. And obviously it's helped a lot of us, too, for, like, people that, when I was going through, there was nobody to call.
Sure.
Or, ask. And, it would have been great to have, okay, you just call the CAPS headquarters and, and just have somebody help you. Again, and that's one of the reasons why you should definitely do it and be into it, is just to help people and tell them everything that you've learned, and, it's all about getting everybody comfortable, whether, there's even trying to help the other side.
Yeah.
So, helping both.
Well, exactly. And unfortunately, we are done, and we'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show, Shari. And of course, check
Thanks,
out
Shari.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Ghost Hunters, and maybe one day you'll see her back on your television. Until then, take care of each other, love each other, and tune in tomorrow night to hear your fix of true crime.